Hi, I'm Miriam Rake, and I am a photographer who specializes in music and dance, and this is the story of the 104 letters to Josh Groban. There are three things that have been my muse, my voice, and my solace in my life, and that's been music, writing, and photography. And a few years ago, I lost a dream that I thought was going to be a lifetime dream. I had built a successful business, had a ranch, basically had the dream life, and then the financial downpour came in 2010 and everything disappeared basically overnight. And I was left without a passion or a purpose and didn't really know which way I wanted to head. And then in 2013, I all of a sudden found my stride in my photography again. I had a couple of shows, I won a couple of awards, and I still felt like I was lacking in a direction until I won a media pass to a Josh Groban concert. He was on his In the Round tour, and the pass was for a concert at the Toyota Center in Houston. I had never thought about doing music. I had never shot music before, had no idea what I was going into, but it just felt right. I rented a lens for the night, and when I walked into the media pit, because you're only given a line to run and 3 songs with the really large musicians, my brain basically started going crazy. I could see images of music being created, what it would be like to be on tour, how the musicians interact with each other, and just creating an entire story placed in a book type form. When I got back from the concert that night, I spent a couple of weeks really hammering out the concept of what it was that I really wanted to do, which was to create tour books based on themes within the bands or based around the bands themselves. And I also knew that I didn't have any kind of experience, and so for the last 18 months, I have been gaining that experience by shooting, at this point, probably roughly 40 plus bands in a variety of venues. Jesse Cook, Lindsey Sterling. All the while, I've been pursuing the idea of creating a tour book based on Josh Groban, the next Josh Groban tour. And really didn't have a clear-cut idea of what the book would be about until Stages got released in April of this year. And at this point, I was roughly 14, 15 months into pursuing leads, referrals, numerous people along the way, and not really getting super far. When Stages got released and then the list of tour dates got released, the whole concept of what the book would be about and why it would be such a great book to do really started to fall into place. Essentially, if you don't know anything about Josh Groban, he was 17 when he was discovered by David Foster. He was in his first month at Carnegie Mellon. He was going to specialize in musical, drama, theater, performance, i.e. Broadway. And David Foster plucked him right out of school, signed him, and well, 13 years later, we all know what a mega international star he is, musician he is, with a voice that really you don't see very often. And this particular album is a compilation of his dream pieces and his dream. He wanted to perform on Broadway, and he picked a series of songs that had a great deal of meaning to him. And that's kind of where this particular book starts weaving so many different aspects into it. The first is that dreams don't necessarily come true in exactly the format you imagined them to be. In Josh's case, at 17, I'm sure he thought he would go to Broadway and become a musical theater performer, and yet here he is, I think actually it's 14 or 15 years later, and he is fixing to take a tour that really runs the history of theater in this country. All of the theaters that are being chosen carry few in seating capacity. Most of them are 5,000 seats or less, which is a huge departure for him. Normally he performs in arenas that are 10,000 plus. The second is that almost every single theater was constructed in the 1920s, early 1900s, for amazingly opulent sums of money. They are extraordinarily elegant. They have tons of history in the form of Broadway performances, the people who've performed on them, Ziegfeld Follies, vaudeville. Ronald Reagan proposed to Jane Wyman on one. Truman gave a war speech on another. First time runs for so many different musicals that you could go for days literally on them. And so here he is taking his favorite Broadway screen and stage pieces out onto these same stages where many of them were actually probably performed originally. And he's laying his energy on top of this. The second, of course, is my dream, which was to go on tour and to document what I think, and I'm sure he does as well, a completely unique, unduplicatable series of concerts. Each concert will be different, each theater is different, each energy will be different, each audience reaction will be different. And then the third weave actually came in the form of a conversation that I had with a friend of mine the other night. And she said, have you thought about the repercussions, the ripples that will take place when this project comes together? You have Josh Groban from where he's at, which is A-listed celebrity / musician. You, not a nobody, but certainly not in the celebrity star spotlight. And when the two of you come together and create a collaboration, the ripples that you will send out are enormous. And that kind of has always been part of this particular dream, was that I was able to inspire other people to not give up on their dreams. Along the way, I have had so many people contribute to my dream in some form or fashion. Starts with the lady who helped me build my proposal for the Josh Groban management team, Lena. She has this odd habit of one morning I'll wake up and say, that's it, I quit. I've spent 18 months on this project. I'm not getting anywhere. I can't do it. And she will text me with the, I thought about you last night, or I'm praying for you, and just gives me that little bit of spark. I have to thank the first band that took me in and helped me produce my first tour book, which is Hazy Ray. Bands typically are really tight-knit, and they're families. And to get into the family, you have to be invited. And Hazy Ray, via Mike Hayes, threw open the door and took me in and let me learn and make my mistakes and taught me so much about the music business. They in turn led me to another band that has produced 2 songs that are kind of my inspirational songs at this point, and that is a group called Roxy Roca out of Austin. The first song that's an inspiration is Happiness is a Choice, and then the second one is It's Your Dream. And so that kind of brings into why the 104 days. So on May 30th, I pretty much had decided I was done and that this wasn't going to happen. And a coach that I admire greatly gave me a free 30-minute consultation and asked me if I could walk away with no regrets. And I thought about it, and the answer was no. Actually, I hadn't done really everything that I'd wanted to do to try and attain this goal. And that was essentially tackling the internet. I have a love-hate relationship with social media. I think it's an awesome tool, but at the same time, I think that it creates incredible damage and distance for people and relationships in general between people. But I also know that social media can be used as a tool to get the word out there when everything else has failed. At that point, there were exactly 104 days left to the first tour date, which is September 12th in Atlanta, Georgia. And I decided that if I wanted this project, I needed to go completely open and vulnerable. So every day I go and get my ass kicked at my trainers and come home and write my application letter for the day. And in it, I discuss what I do personally and professionally. I talk about the theaters, their history, visions that I have for the book, and send it out to social media. And so what I need from you is for this story to get out there, or to find the one person who can bring me in the door to sit down with Josh Groban's management team and discuss the book. I have had so many positive responses, but it needs just a little bit more to get over the edge and get the attention that I need. So that's what I'm asking from you with this video, is basically pass me out like candy and share me all over the place. And I look forward to hearing your dreams and helping everybody get there where they want to get to.
Is your dream